Hello, my name is Eric Bartley, and I'm completing my capstone project for the DPP practicum for the fall of 2016. I was interested in looking at truancy and special education and how it's affecting our district here in Pike County. I want to give a special thanks to Mr. Joe Moore, the DPP here in the Pike County School District, and Mr. Freddie Bowling, the Assistant Superintendent here in the Pike County School District. Both of them were my mentors for the practicum this fall. First, give you a little overview of the project and looking at the literature. Introduction. During this presentation, we will explore the effects special education has on truancy and how we can change the negative effect special education is having on our attendance. We will also explore some of the laws that go along with special education and truancy. Finally, we will look at different ways we may address these issues within our schools, district, and special education programs. In talking with my DPP, Mr. Joe Moore, I found that special needs students are really high on our truancy list, which means they're truant a lot. And I was interested in finding out why these students are being truant and how I can change these students' outlooks on school and truancy and possibly help them understand how important it is to attend school. One of the first articles I looked at was it was a law article. It was based on obligation of school districts to address truancy of special education students. This article was short, but it had some very important law matters within it. The article states that based on IDEA, if a student in special education is truant, the school and district must conduct a social emotional assessment and develop a plan for addressing the truant behavior. This is something within our school we do. If there's a special needs student who truancy is a major issue, we work as an ARC team to help fix that problem. But in talking to other special education teachers throughout our district, and Mr. Moore speaking with other DPPs, this is something that other districts and even schools within our district is not doing, and this is something that is really important. I feel this could really be the first step in taking care of these truant behaviors. But the problem within our school that we have experienced and within our district is, even though we're doing this as an ARC team, we're still experiencing some truant behaviors with these students. Even though we're taking the first step to fix it, truancy is still becoming an issue. Especially in the late middle school years into high school and to the point to where most of them end up dropping out. Truancy, the second article was about truancy, absenteeism, and special education, considerations for school districts. This article discusses truancy as a reason for special education. Now, I don't agree with that wholeheartedly. I don't think truancy should be a reason for special education. A student may be truant, but is very intelligent and very capable of performing with our same age peers. Within our state district, unless the truancy is due to a medical issue, we do not use truancy as a reason for special education in Kentucky and Pike County. This article was based on out of Illinois, which was part of their law. Within our state and district, if a student has been truant a lot, we will look at that as the reason for academic deficits, possibly. Early on, we don't even consider a referral if a student has missed X amount of days. If they've missed too many days, we're not going to do that referral because they've not had the same exposure and the same opportunity as their same age peers. That's the issue I had with this article. I don't think you can say truancy is a reason for special education. It may be a behavior issue you can address within the IEP, but it is not a reason for placing a student in special education. Article 3, School Law Update and Federal Law Restrictions on Expelling Truant Special Education Students. Now, this article was looking at a court case that had been going through the Illinois State Court because they had expelled a special needs student for being truant. Within our state and by law, we have 10 days that we can suspend a student. After that, we have to start looking at alternate means of addressing that student's truant behavior, and we have to look at finding other ways, whether it be a day treatment program or some other type of treatment for this student because of their truant behavior. We don't believe in expelling a student for being truant. We want to try to fix the problem. The last thing we want to do is see a student out of our school system or end up dropping out later on once they turn 18, once they get ready, right at that point where they're almost there to graduate. So we try to keep that student, and we try to find alternate means of helping that student. My research question, the thing that really puzzled me: what impact does special education have on truancy within our district? And what can we do to improve attendance amongst special education students? I feel there's something we can do out there to help these students. One great step that our district has taken, we have we have put in place we call it North Point Academy. It's another school, and it's for students who have been truant and fell behind. It's for high school students. It's a way for them to do credit recovery and get caught back up. Once they complete the program and get caught back up with their same age peers, we then transition them back into their regular school setting. We're very blessed to have this in the Pike County School District, and it has really helped our attendance and our truancy issues when talking with my DPP. It's something that we've really taken pride in, and it's a program that we hope we can continue into the future. But back to the research questions. The data sources collections, it was the same thing for first I started at my school level. I looked at attendance records of special education students. We had 80 students in special education in our building last year. I looked at the absence that are excused and unexcused. I looked at the absence that are related to special education, the special education process. Now, there are times that our special needs students have to miss to go to the doctor for certain things within their IEP or for testing for special education, and I took that into consideration as well. All data for the school was retrieved from Infinite Campus. It was the same thing, district-based. We had 1,500 students last year after child count that were in special education within our district. I got the same way I did at the school. I got the attendance records, looked at the absentees, looked at the absentees that were related to special education, and I got all that data and I compiled it together. The first thing I did for the school, we looked at all the absence for 2015-2016 school year for the special education students. We did the same for the district. We then looked at the excused absence for both the school and the district. We then went a step further by reading the excuse reasons which had been logged into Infinite Campus. We then broke the excuses into categories: unexcused, personal, health, and special education related. The unexcused was what I was really looking at. This is the ones where students had stated that they just didn't want to come to school that day, or they didn't like school, or they didn't want to come to school. Those were those unexcused absences. These personal and health that were excused, I were okay with. But I also looked at the special education related, because the students I wanted to look and see if there's ways we could bring some programs into our building and try to keep some of these special education students from having to miss to go to a doctor because of special education. After our analysis of the school data, we found that the majority of the absence for the special education students in our building were classified as unexcused. Once again, these were the students that stated they didn't want to come to school, they didn't like school, they felt like they were made fun of because they were in special education. After our analysis of the district's data, we found that the majority of the absence for the special education in our district were classified as unexcused. After interviewing, that was for the district as well. The majority of our students at the district level, their absence were unexcused. They stated that they didn't like school, they didn't want to come to school, they felt they were bullied for being in special ed. After interviewing some of the students, we went a step further. We interviewed a few special education students with unexcused absence. They stated the main reason they miss is they don't feel like coming to school. They stated they just felt like school was a waste of time for them. They felt like they were never going to be able to go to college. They felt like school is not going to help them better themselves. And this really hit home for me, and this is what got my wheels turning on some programs that we could bring into our building and help address this issue. Now here's the numbers. Like I said, we had 80 kids in our building, okay? 40 of those students, the majority of their absentees were unexcused. 10 of them were personal issues, parent letters, funerals, so forth and so on, health, sick, doctor's appointment. Now, special ed related. This went back to they had to miss for testing. They may have to miss for a vision or eye, or a vision screening or a hearing screening. So this is something I wanted to look at, something that we could drive this number down as well. This was for the district, 1,500 students. 700 of them, the majority of those students had unexcused absences. Once again, didn't want to come to school, don't like school, don't feel like school can benefit them. Then we had 200 personal, 300 health related, and then 300 special ed related. Once again, that's testing, such as an outside agency or a vision or hearing screening. Actions. After speaking with my mentors, here's what we came up with. We decided that it is an issue we need to pay closer attention to, the special education and the truancy. We decided that we need to offer more school-based programs that help with the special education process, such as speech screenings and vision and hearing screenings. If we can keep those students who are going through the special education process in our building, such services as counseling within our building, screenings within our building, speech services within our building, physical therapy within our building, we feel like that number can go down. Now, we already have some of those services, but we feel like we need to extend those services and make them more frequent within our building to help with that. We also decided we need to develop an awareness program for parents. Once they start the special education process, I think we need to have steps where we can go through with the parents to ensure they understand the importance of attending school, especially for special education students whom are already behind. If they're behind, they need to be here all the time if they can, getting that extra help, getting what they need. I think we need to start addressing that more within our ARC meetings, within special education, as well as the initial placements, going through programs with the parents, hoping they realize how important that school really is to their child. In closing, I found this to be a very productive experiment. I feel like we have took a step in the right direction, not only for our school, but also our district. If we as a district continue to monitor this issue and keep developing new ways to resolve the problem, then we will see a change for the better, both at the school and district level. I feel if we really put our hand on this and work together as a district, work together within our schools, we can develop something, a program, and it may not be the same program for every school. Everyone may be different. But if we develop individual programs within our building, I feel we can help drive this issue down both with unexcused and special education related absentees. Here's my works cited for my 3 articles at the end. And I just want to say thank you for your attention. Mr. Heffern, I want to thank you for taking the time out to watch this and help us through this practicum. It's been great. Thank you guys very much.